First of all, is it a crime to be peaceful and nice to everybody? Is it a crime? As this Igbo man is giving us headache in the country, Zelensky wants to finish us. Zelensky, he wants to finish us. Now, we were here some days ago when he came and tweeted that Ghana is ready to finance the production of Ukrainian drones. And we are like, now we don't know where did we even get the money from to go and finance the production of Ukrainian drones. With that, our energy sector debt is $3.8 billion. No, where do we even have the money to go and finance that drones production? Not long after he tweeted that, the Russia foreign minister, Mr. Marco, says he will be paying a 4 days visit to Ghana. Putting here no matter. 4 days, days after Zelensky went and tweeted that thing, the Russia foreign minister says he's coming to Ghana on a 4-day trip. Yay, we have finished. Zelensky has put us into trouble. Putin has heard the matter. Mr. Mahama, please tell the man that Zelensky is a liar. Because if Russia take our matter on their head, So that's it. The Russia foreign minister will be paying a 4 days visit to Ghana. I think he's already in the country. And then when it was announced, Mr. Kwesi Pratt tweeted something. And then later, Mr. Kwesi Pratt tweeted saying that Zelensky said, if Ghana finance the production of the Ukrainian drones, Ghanaian borders will be secured. Secured from who? Secured from what? Who do we have problems with? It's not Akufo-Addo that went and sell out to Anthony Blinken. And it's not Akufo-Addo that went and tell Anthony Blinken that Burkina Faso. Now, since Mahama, who has problem? Which border are you trying to secure? You that you can secure your own border and Russia is doing those things to you. Please, so Mr. Zelensky, don't come and put us in anything. We are innocent to allow us to go and allow us to banter who we banter. Don't come and involve us in anything Russia. Our power no reach that side. Please.
The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, now wants to be friends with the Sahel states, including Burkina Faso President Ibrahim Traoré. And now they are trying to come to Africa and try to befriend Africa so that they can become friends with the Sahel states. And actually we know the friends of the Sahel states and the person who opened the eyes of Africans was actually Putin, the president of Russia. And now he's trying to come to Africa and try to train the military in Mauritius, and he's also telling them that they should protect the Sahel states, that they want good relations, but we actually know that this is a trap. Ibrahim Traoré has said that he's not going to accept such kind of friendship, which actually is a manipulation to Africa and try to getting into Africa, and then they do what they do best. They eliminate our best leaders, the people who are serving the Africans, and also at the end of the day, they want us to have dependency on them and then cause chaos. It is also not to be forgotten that it was Ukraine that sponsored terrorists who unalived over 200 soldiers in Mali.
Following its revolutionary coup and the subsequent attempted military invasion by Nigeria, Niger aligned itself with its neighbors Burkina Faso and Mali into something called the Alliance of Sahelian States, which adopted new geopolitical and security partnerships with Russia, Turkey, and North Korea, among others. So you had these guys on one hand, and then at the other end of the ideological spectrum in West Africa, you had the likes of Nigeria, Benin, and Cote d'Ivoire, which were and are very much Western aligned. And sitting at the physical and metaphorical center of this tinderbox is Ghana. Now, in January, Ghana's new president, John Mahama, embarked on a diplomatic charm offensive. You might recall when these images went viral as Ibrahim Traoré visited Ghana for Mahama's presidential inauguration. Since then, the Ghanaian port of Temba has become a key port for the landlocked Sahelian alliance, and Mahama has deepened that partnership while still maintaining close diplomatic partnership between Ghana and its Western aligned neighbors like Nigeria. Basically, Mahama's Ghana is the diplomatic glue that maintains peace and regional stability in West Africa. But here's where a third party comes in. So if you recall, in July 2024, suspiciously well-armed terrorists in northern Mali ambushed a group of Malian soldiers and Russian private military contractors, killing at least 47 Malians and 84 Russians. In the aftermath, Ukraine proudly claimed credit for facilitating this attack as part of its purported global war on Russia. The Sahelian alliance promptly dispatched the complaints to the UN Security Council and cut all diplomatic ties with Ukraine. Now, fast forward 12 months, and on July 11, 2025, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tweeted this, claiming that Ghana had agreed multiple sovereign deals with Ukraine, including buying Ukrainian drones and deploying Ukrainian soldiers to protect Ghana's borders. For context, Ghana has a northern border with Burkina Faso that stretches over 600 kilometers. So if you're in the Sahel alliance and you've cut off all diplomatic ties with Ukraine because they helped terrorists murder 47 of your soldiers, how would you interpret a neighboring country you share 600 kilometers with, agreeing to import Ukrainian drones and troops, and then to protect its borders? From who exactly? You see where this is going. Well, it turned out that Zelensky made the whole thing up. There was no such agreement. While he did have a private telephone conversation with John Mahama, he thoroughly mischaracterized it on Twitter. And he did so very publicly in a way that was calculated to create the maximum possible diplomatic friction between Ghana and its Sahelian neighbors. In fact, a number of news platforms even erroneously picked up the false story. But that wasn't all. Almost concurrently as this was happening, a video started making the rounds across Ghanaian social media, depicting a Nigerian man declaring a plan to create a Nigerian ethnic kingdom inside Ghana. And while this was happening, an obviously inorganic hashtag, Nigeria must go, which was being pushed by a network of bot accounts, also began doing the rounds. And in fact, this botnet began promoting a purported public demonstration to demand the expulsion of Nigerians from Ghana. Some accounts within this botnet even attempted to inflame tensions further by them pretending to be Nigerians calling for a military invasion of Ghana. Thankfully, Ghana's foreign minister waded in and doused the controversy, revealing that the video making the rounds was an old video recorded in 2013. Exactly how this video was stripped of all its identifying context and repurposed into viral fuel for a clearly inauthentic online political action campaign remains unclear. Now, about a week before all of this happened, Frida Anong, a diplomat working at Ghana's High Commission in Nigeria, was brutally tortured and murdered on her way home from work in Abuja. And then just a few days after this, the official residence of Ghana's ambassador to Nigeria in Abuja suffered a burglary. It almost seemed like a deliberate sequence of events intended to simultaneously infuriate the Ghanaian authorities and escalate anti-Nigerian sentiment among Ghanaian people. Now, these could all be random, unconnected, unfortunate events that so happened to take place within 11 days of each other in July 2025, but that would explain why someone paid for a social media bot campaign that tried to create international tensions in what is West Africa's oasis of stability. And why did Mr. Zelensky so publicly try to pit Ghana against its Sahelian neighbors? To what end? Because if you're a third party trying to start a war in West Africa, this is pretty much exactly how we'd go about it. You would go after the country that is a trusted trading partner and diplomatic ally of both the eastern-leaning Sahel and western-leaning Nigeria, and you would try to isolate and destabilize it by creating multiple diplomatic disputes with these allies, so that in the resulting leadership vacuum with that country out of the way, fireworks could then begin to fly. Thankfully, Ghana didn't bite the bait.
The president of Ukraine, Zelensky, now wants to be friends with Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso and to become friends with all the Sahel states. They are now trying to come to Africa, trying to be friends with Africa. Remember, it was President Putin of Russia who was helping Ibrahim Traoré, while Zelensky was looking for help from America to attack President Putin. Now, Zelensky of Ukraine is trying to be friends with Ibrahim Traoré in order to counter the influence of Russia, the influence of Putin in Africa. As Zelensky wants to be friends with Ibrahim Traoré, but Ibrahim Traoré said no, he is not going to accept any friendship with Zelensky, which is a manipulation to Africa, trying to get into Africa. Remember, Zelensky is working with America. If Zelensky enter Burkina Faso, it will be easy for America to enter too, and they will do their worst. They eliminate our best leaders. They eliminate the people who are serving the interest of Africans, because they don't want Africa to be progressive. They want Africa to depend on them. So for Traoré to make friends with them will not bring any good results. Ibrahim Traoré said no.
So Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, want to be friend with Ibrahim Traoré, mon capitaine. He went even far in saying he want to be close to the Sahel state leaders. As y'all know that the Sahel state leaders are focusing on building their countries. They don't have time for fake people around them, okay? So, I mean, he can take all those ECOWAS leaders and be friend. As for the Sahel states, it's a no-no.
They are taking it too far. This is too far even for Western mainstream media. We all know their bias. We all know how they twist and change the narrative, the headlines, how we see the world. But this one is taking it far. It feels like they're mocking us. Financial Times just published an article. And that article, they titled, and we're saying enough is enough. The audacity to title your article like that and put it behind a paywall, mind you. They expect people to pay and read their article when they are mocking the people that are fighting for freedom, the people that are tired of being exploited by the Western world. I don't think they understand that there is an uprising. We are done. We are done and tired, and we're not going to accept misinformation, lies, and the change of the narrative, because frankly, we're tired of it. We're done. We are going to start writing our own stories. The same way you titled that story and mocked the people that are fighting for freedom is the same way that we're going to call out what you have done, and it's not going to impact us. It's not going to change the narrative. It's not going to do the same thing that it did a few years back with Libya's President Gaddafi. You did a real damage then. You changed the narrative to the point where the people themselves believed it and got themselves in this situation that they are in right now. Now it's not going to happen again, because we are going to protect those that are standing up for us and that are standing up for what is right. Enough is enough. It's not going to work anymore. Anyways, fam, what are your thoughts on this story? Saint Traoré and his cult, according to mainstream media. I am Wangel Zalalam. I'll see you on the next one.
Excellency, the President of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, has asked me to reiterate on this memorable occasion that Ghana stands by the Republic of Niger and all other AES countries in their quest to protect their citizenry from the criminal terrorism, the menace that currently confronts us in our sub-region.
Is training Mauritanian soldiers so that they can protect themselves from all the terrorists that are coming from West Africa and Sahel state. And also he wants these soldiers to protect Sahel state. Can you believe this? So this is Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. So he wants to create good relationship with Sahel state, especially Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, because he knows that a lot of African countries, they love Ibrahim Traoré. And if Ibrahim Traoré loves Zelensky, a lot of African countries will join him. We all know that Sahel state belong to Russia. They have a lot of deals with Russia. So this seems like Zelensky want to steal Sahel state from Russia. Russia has been helping Sahel state, providing all the troops, providing everything that they need so that they can fight off terrorists. Even Putin, he want everyone from messing with Ibrahim Traoré. Now we can see that Zelensky want a piece of Sahel state.
Zelensky is a corrupt dictator. Thousands of Ukrainians have taken to the streets, furious with Zelensky, not because of the war, but because of him. The man once hailed as a symbol of democracy is now being called a dictator in disguise. Some protesters are literally chanting, Zelensky is the devil, and here's why. He's just signed off on a new law that cripples Ukraine's anti-corruption agencies. These were the very bodies set up to investigate high-level corruption. Now, they're under direct control of the Prosecutor General, a political ally hand-picked by Zelensky. That's like putting a bank robber in charge of the vault. He claims it's to fight Russian influence, but Ukrainians aren't buying it, and neither is the EU, neither is the G7. Diplomats are calling it a major step back for Ukraine's democracy. Even some of his own mayors and former allies are calling it dangerous. Protests have broken out in Kiev, Lviv, Odessa and Dnipro and beyond. People are furious. One man shouted, "My father died defending this country, not for you to become a tyrant." Let's be absolutely clear. While the West keeps pumping in billions in weapons, in aid, Zelensky is tightening his grip on power. No accountability, no checks, just one man consolidating everything under his control, all while the world looks the other way. This isn't about helping Ukraine win, this is about helping Zelensky rule. So ask yourself this question, is this a leader worth defending, or is it time the world wakes up? Let me know in the comments, because this isn't democracy. This is nothing less than a power grab.
When General Langley got on TV and said Ibrahim Traoré is a danger to the people of Burkina Faso and we need to go over there and save the people of Burkina Faso from Ibrahim Traoré.
That is a kill order. That is the same message that they put out on Muammar Gaddafi before they toppled Libya. And now the women in Libya, just like Sudan, are being raped. And the children are being sold in slave markets. And now Donald Trump got on a meeting just the other day and said even if we wanted to go into Libya, we can't because the situation has collapsed so bad, there is no more Libya. That is what the Western media has said. And that is what they want to do to Burkina Faso. Do not look and say this is Burkina Faso. It has nothing to do with Ghana. Because if they collapse Burkina Faso, it will spill over into Ghana. Make no mistake about it.
Yeah.
So this is a test from God for everybody.
How that's true?
Because when Kwame and Nkrumah came, we're humans. We make mistakes. But we allowed the West to turn us against Assange. And we danced on top of his broken statues. And we celebrated when he was overthrown. He was all over the continent building what we know as the Casablanca Group, which was a Pan-African group, the first group to say United Africa now. And they put the Moravian group to say, in the least time possible. Well, 60 years have passed, and now Ibrahim Traoré says time to continue what Thomas Sankara started, and they say, oh, not yet, not yet, not yet. We see that the Casablanca group was right, and the Moravian group was wrong.
Yeah.
It is time for us to right our errors and our wrongs. There is plenty of reason for us to take this personal. Because Kwame Nkrumah is watching us right now.
Yes.
And he said, if you want to be free as Ghanaians, show me that you have changed.
Yes. Right now.
Show me that your mentality is different. It is our time. There is a new Casablanca group, and it is called the Sahel. And Chad is rising to join. Senegal is rising to join. And as this man, Ibrahim Traoré, survives, more will join. We have a president that says, I see Congo. And when I get things stabilized here, we go into Congo. How many African presidents have said that?
No.
We have a president that says, I see Sudan. And when I get things straight at Burkina Faso, we go into Sudan. How many African presidents are talking like that?
No one.
So if we keep this man alive and protect this man with our lives, this man is setting the blueprint for the United Africa that Kwame Nkrumah always wanted.
Yes. Yes.
We must be willing to die for him, but we must also be willing to live for him.
Yeah.
Make this message and make this name known all around. I should not speak to any Ghanaian that does not know who Ibrahim Traoré is. We should all know, because he is us and we are him. And my job as Hakeem Royce of Glue Nation, God, Love, Unity, and Enlightenment is to bring black diasporian investors and builders here from the West. But are we ready?
That's the question.
Are we ready? Do we have control of our resources? Do we have sovereignty over our land? Or will the people continue to come and say, Africa's not ready yet? Maybe everything that the West and all of the narratives that the West has put out about Africa is true. We have to write our own story. We have witnessed the murder of Fred Hampton. We have witnessed the murder of Huey P. Newton. And now the conditions in America is an almost post-apocalyptic condition of when everybody who has ever stood up has been murdered. And now the same government has now put the same order.
Welcome back to Gist9. Now, Zelensky is suddenly showing interest in Africa, especially Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso and other Sahel leaders. But the question is, why now? Do you think this is genuine friendship, or this man is just another pawn in the global game that is trying to manipulate Africa's future? Now, to me, this is what is happening. Because he has been fighting Russia for over 2 years now, and he's running out of support. And the West is tired. Donations are dropping. And now, guess what? He's turning to Africa, trying to build alliances with other countries that are currently signing up and saying no more to Western control. He's reaching out to the Sahel countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, where he knows that young, bold leaders like Captain Ibrahim Traoré are throwing out colonial puppets and standing up for true African freedom. But do you think we can trust this man? Let's be honest. This Saudi friendship is not about Africa. It's about Zelensky using Africa, and that's what I feel. He wants African votes at the UN. He wants our minerals. He wants to show the West that he still got these global friends. And worst of all, he's quietly plotting against the Sahel revolution behind closed doors. Zelensky is collaborating with Western powers who are against the military governments in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. While smiling in public, he's instigating the EU and US to slap more sanctions on the Sahel. Why? Because the Sahel is rejecting French and Western dominance, and Zelensky's alliance or allies don't like that. He's playing a very dangerous double game. And now let's talk about Ghana. Ghana is trying to play safe, but is quietly supporting Western narratives. The government is not standing with the Sahel. They are still aligned with IMF, World Bank, and Western partners. Ghana is also warming up to Zelensky, attending his African Peace Summit and making diplomatic moves behind the scenes. But this neutrality isn't really neutral. It's a silent vote against the new Pan-African wave. And if Zelensky successfully divides African nations, we will lose the momentum we've built. The Sahel revolution could be isolated, and once again, African countries will be used as pawns in all these foreign conflicts. And let's not forget, Ukraine never stood with Africa during our own struggles, but now that they need support, they are suddenly calling for unity, and we see through it. Well, what I can say is that Africa should not fall for it. Ibrahim Traoré and the Sahel leaders, they must be smart. Not all handshakes are genuine. And Zelensky might be wearing a suit, but the agenda behind it is dangerous. Let's protect our unity and build for ourselves. It shouldn't be as tools for the East or West. Well, let me know what you think in the comment section. But before then, please kindly like, share, and subscribe.
This is not just a speech, it is a declaration, a turning point in West African politics. For the first time in decades, Ghana, one of Africa's most stable democracies, has officially announced its commitment to join forces with Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso in the fight against terrorism. And this isn't military talk behind closed doors. It came directly from the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Alban Sumana Kingsford Bagan, at a powerful open session of the First Consultative Council of the Reef Foundation on behalf of President John Dramani Mahama. His words, Ghana is ready to collaborate fully with our brothers in the alliance of Sahel states. And just like that, Ghana has entered a new security alliance that could reshape the entire Sahel and ECOWAS structure. But what does this mean for Ghana's position in West Africa? Is this a quiet rejection of Western-led security models, and why now?
Should we pay reparations to our former colonies? In my judgment, it would be patronizing and unnecessary to do so. The world has moved on from the colonial era. Allegiances and the world economic order are changing fast. I'm reliably informed that there are only 22 countries that Britain has not invaded. We helped ourselves to their natural resources and made a tidy profit. We occupied them for the protection of our fleets, Malta, Gibraltar, and for the detention of our felons, Australia. We didn't ask the indigenous population if it was okay with them, and sometimes they objected. The thing is, what are the reparations for? How do you put a value on it? Who gets it? Let me say at the outset, it wasn't all good news, as we've just been hearing. The colonial period was a phase in world development. Indigenous populations suffered loss of land, livelihood, and died in military encounters. British colonial administrators and workers also dropped like flies from malaria, dengue fever, riot, gut rot, and plenty of other things. Many of these men and women died working on infrastructure projects which improved the health and welfare of the population. Building hospitals and sewers, constructing roads and railways, putting in schools and teachers, working as doctors and nurses. There was sacrifice on both sides. So how can you construct a balance sheet that gives us a number that can be used in the compensation equation? Did Britain set back the economic prosperity and opportunity of the colonies? I don't believe that anyone can legitimately argue that we did. British administrations invested heavily in physical infrastructure, health projects, developed markets for local goods and raw materials, and legal regimes based on the British system. So if you have to put a value on compensation, fairness dictates that we offset the contribution that Britain made to the colony and the value of the legacy we left behind. And what should we do about the compensation for those countries who have chosen to retain the link with their former coloniser? Like the 53 nations of the Commonwealth who voluntarily recognise the Queen as their head of state. And by the way, that includes Australia, Canada, India, Malaysia, and 18 African countries. And then there are 14 British overseas territories and 3 Crown dependencies. And whilst they are self-governing, they continue to recognise the Queen as their head of state. They don't have to, but they choose to.